All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging tight. We have fixed the Discord issues and we have fixed everything else that we're going into. We have Chris ready. We've got some questions to ask him because he made a miraculous comeback in that third game and closed it out after the overhead into Super. So, Chris, how you feeling, man?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you guys see me? Is my camera working?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What's going on, guys?
Dude.
Big chillin', man. Big chillin'. That was quite the grand finals, quite the run. So just to start, I got a two-pronger for you. First up, were you expecting the modern Chun at all? Did you know that nephew had been working on that?
Nah, not really. I mean, I
Okay.
know that the nephew has been playing a lot of characters lately. I know that he started playing JP as well. And he's the type of player that could pick up any character and immediately understand that character's strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like he's picked Chun-Li against me before, and that's a matchup where I feel like Ken players, again, are not too comfortable against Chun-Li, and the modern definitely caught me by surprise. But yeah, it's nephew. You could see how that went down the wire.
So without thinking about it too hard, once you saw the modern Chun come out, do you remember anything about your game plan that you had to change? Because obviously the modern slows down the pace a lot, right? You can't just really like abuse the Dragon Lash, OD Fireball, run, all these things that Ken usually has to be able to kind of throw at the opponent to mix them up. That kind of gets stifled with that. Do you have like one of the things that really stuck out for your adjustments?
I think that honestly, I had to think about what can modern Chun even do, because I haven't played against modern Chun. I've only played against classic Chun-Li's, and I have an understanding of how the neutral should be in that matchup when it's classic Chun-Li. But with modern, you could see that I was trying really hard to adjust to the fact that he has a one-button super, and so there was some fireballs that got level 2'd, and his neutral is really hard to get through when he's in that modern state. And then also I forgot at the last second, I did drive impact and he did level 3, and I'm like, dude, he has one button super. And it was just, it's one of those things where if your muscle memory is not fully there, it just takes some rounds to get used to it.
Yeah,
So it was I had to slow it down for sure, because he's able to dictate neutral with modern Chun, so I have to figure out a strategy against that.
Yeah, absolutely love what you were able to do too, because I remember calling it out. The first two fireballs you actually threw were immediately like nullified with the Zanshu, and like after that you got really hesitant with the fireballs and you started adjusting slowly. And I know right after that first game too, it was like this key point because you got hit by the second Zanshu, lost that game. You went back to character select. Can you tell me like what was going through your head there? You took almost a minute to really sit down and think, and I think that's really smart especially at the top level in a player of your caliber and tenure. Like, what was going through your head there, and like how did you reset? Because none of us were expecting the modern Chun.
Yeah, I think that it's very important sometimes for players to take a step back, go into that custom lobby again, take that 1 to 2 minute break. Now, it's not like in those 1 to 2 minutes I'm doing calculus and trying to figure out every little detail as to why I lost. It's more so of just regaining composure, the mental stability, and thinking about the key moments that cost me the round. It's not every little situation, you don't have enough time for that, but it's the key moments and the key decisions. And I feel like I had to repeat to myself to slow it down, that he's going to play the long game and he's going to slow it down, and I can't be throwing fireballs. And he's just really amazing at being able to react to Dragon Lash as well. I have to throw those at him sometimes, but the nephew's really good with those reactions. So it was more so of regaining composure and, playing a bit safer.
All right. I guess one other question I have to go back to the JB Winners Finals set is we had just seen before your match with JB in Winners Finals, JB, like, it was up against 801 Strider, and he just guessed right every time on Wake Up. Like, he was able to do it. Yeah.
DP super.
Yeah, like, every time on Wake Up, he was right. Strider tried to, like, bait out, like, 5 Wake Ups in a row, and he didn't do anything. But it was a different story with you. You were able to catch on a lot more to his defensive choices. Is that like a strength you have as a player in general, or do you have enough experience against JB now to kind of get a better read on him than some other players?
Well, I wouldn't say it's getting a better read against JB, because me and JB go back and forth. He's one of the best players. So It's more so of recognizing the situation that you're in and what you should go for. There's almost like a telegraph of things that you should do. To give an example, let's say you get your first knockdown, right? And both of you guys are started off in the round, you have a lot of life, you get your first knockdown, 9 times out of 10 players are probably going to want to throw you, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get clipped with a button and then now you're at 40%, and the telegraph becomes easier for the player that has the life lead because you now have to take a bigger risk. So it's more so of understanding the situation that you're in, the situation that your opponent's in, but also having the balls to commit. You have to have the balls to commit sometimes, because in this game, if you don't commit, then you play way too passive. And I was watching him play against Strider, and I was like, fuck, he's making every right wake-up read. I'm about to get smoked. So I was like, when JB's feeling like that, it's really hard to stop him, because he's one of those players that really feeds off of momentum. But yeah, it was more so of like, you know, you got to take the risk with the throws. You know that he's a smart player, so he's probably going to want to take the throw, vice versa, and then the rest is up to God.
Hey, the risk reward calculations were on point for sure.
Yeah, really love that. And again, I love the point that you brought up too about you in this game, you have to take the risk, you have to take the initiative, and you were at that deficit, and that's what I think that was the turning point in the set, where you committed to the overhead and to the super, where you saw
jab overhead.
Yeah, you saw the window and you're like, all right, I know exactly what he wants to do here, and that I think was your set winning moment, because after that, it's like you turned it on. Your momentum went straight back to full, and he couldn't adjust in time. So, like, how do you ride that momentum as a player? Like when you see that moment and you have this huge outplay against the enemy, whether it be like Snake Eyes, Nephew, whoever it may be. Like, how do you carry that forward and not get too ahead of yourself? Because I know it must have felt good to get that hit.
Oh yeah, it felt amazing. I mean, I didn't call out the drive impact. I'm not gonna lie. I was just hoping to catch him slipping, and it actually happened. So I was hoping that he would crouch block it and then I would confirm it to super. I think being able to control momentum is one of the hardest. Everything is hard to do in Street Fighter, but when you're feeling like, oh shit, the momentum's all on my side, there's a level of confidence that builds inside of your brain, but you cannot let that confidence control every decision, because that confidence can quickly turn into what's the word that I'm looking for? It could quickly turn into foolishness, because you take just that one extra risk. And when you're playing against somebody so strong, you have to know what that player is also looking for, recognizing that the momentum's on your side as well. So I'm sure that Nephew felt that, oh, momentum's on Chris's side right now because of what he just did. He's got to adjust some of the things that he's looking for, and I also have to keep in mind that the momentum's on my side. He might want to take a bigger risk. I'm in control right now. It's really weird to explain. There's a fine line. It's a very fine line between, am I being too aggressive or too passive? Am I riding the momentum or am I not riding the momentum? It's really, really hard to distinguish what decision you made that got you the W at the end or eventually costs you the game, you know? It's so hard to explain it from a player's perspective. I feel like I would have to sit down and really theory fight with some really strong players in order to have a deeper explanation and understanding, but given the time that we have, you know.
Yeah, I think you did a good job though, giving us the shallow end of the whole deal, you know what I'm saying? Definitely a nice explanation. And yeah, I mean, that is the beauty of high level fighting games, right? Is riding that fine line, like, because every little minutia, every little nuance can really butterfly effect into some crazy shit. So
what did you just say? Did you just say minutia?
Yes.
You know what's funny is that I've never seen that word before until yesterday when I started reading Kobe Bryant's Mamba Mentality. That was the first time that I saw that word being used, and he was talking about studying every minutia of detail within players and as he would fly to games. So Kobe Bryant's one of my biggest idols, so it was funny because Mena was telling me about that book, and I had it. I literally have it right in front of me.
Oh, there you go.
And it was just weird that you used that word right there.
It's the law of the universe, bro. When you discover something for the first time, it appears again very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, love the answer you were able to give there. And yeah, it's all the small things that come together that really make you the player that you are. And it feels like you have every piece of the puzzle. So knowing that you're now sitting firmly in first place, you got 2 wins on the board, there's 3 more tournaments to go. Who do you have your eyes set on? Because at the end of the day, there's still a bracket that has to be played after this, and it's going to be the top 8 of the West Coast. I know you talked about how strong JB is, but who else is on your radar that you'd be preparing for?
So other than Nephew and JB, I would say Strider is someone I would be preparing for. Chris CCH is someone that I would be preparing for. I think that who else? Let me think. Those are the biggest threats to me personally. Those are the ones that you have to really buckle down and study their habits and formulate a strategy against them. I feel very confident against everybody right now, but those are the players that I'm looking out for the most. And Samurai as well, because Samurai is always going to adapt and study the game. He's a student of the game. He's a master at the game as well. So he's somebody that I'm looking forward to playing against because I know he's going to do his homework. So, you know, all the players that were in the top 8 last World Warrior and this World Warrior, they're almost guaranteed to make it back as well. I'm glad to see my boy Julio back in that shit.
Oh yeah,
Julio Fuentes back in there in that top 8. Much love to Julio, man. Ken Trinity all the way. You already know.
All right, man. Well, I don't got any more questions. I want to give you this time to shout out your peoples, handle some things, plug some things, let people know where to find you and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always grateful to God for the opportunity to do what I love. If it wasn't for him, none of this would be possible. So I want to thank all the players that have been helping me out, talking to me, you know, especially Mena. Mena's been right there by my side, so super helpful. And every one of the supporters as well. I know there was a lot of supporters in the chat as well. I got love for you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, shout outs to OTF Gaming. You already know. And yeah, I appreciate Level Up for setting this up. Capcom, all of that. But Capcom, please, for the love of God, fix those inputs. You saw it happen to me. You saw it happen to
we
me.
brought it up.
We brought it up.
You saw it happen to Chris. You saw it
Mhm.
happen to Chris. It happened to Chris a lot. And those are very common things to happen with Ken, those tattoos and the supers coming out and stuff. So hopefully Capcom can fix those inputs soon. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for the interview as well.
Of course, man. Thank you for the answers. It's beautiful stuff. Looking forward to you on the next World Warrior. And speaking of which, let's find out exactly when that next World Warrior is going to be, shall we? Of course, it's on Level Up Live.